45-minute seniors yoga class. As we move through practice today, I'll be giving you lots of options for movement. It's important that you choose options that work best for you and your body today. And our bodies can be quite different day to day, moment to moment. And so one of the beauties of the practice is that it requires us to be present with ourselves every moment of the practice, so that we make choices in our practice that are truly of service to where we're at in that moment. So beginning here with eyes closed, try to notice your breath. Try to notice your breath, but not actually affect or change your breath in any way. And as you bear witness to the breath, see if you can feel through breathing where in your body you might be holding a bit of tension. Maybe there's a feeling of gripping or tightness. And we can use our breath like a tool, guiding it into those places that feel tight. In a gentle, kind way, we start to breathe a little deeper into those tight places, just noticing or seeing if they will soften a little bit. You might notice this through your shoulders, sometimes through the rib cage, into the arms or legs. And with this increased sense of softness, shift your body as you need to settle yourself now so shoulders are more over the hips. So we're doing so in a way that the body feels soft as you move. And you're settling so that the spine is straight up and down. So we're not leaning forward or leaning back. And now start to deepen your breath in that softness of the body. Start to inhale deeply through the belly or into the belly, and then exhale, contract the belly back with a little bit of muscular effort. But through that softness, the breath is free to lift up and out. And again, the belly softens, creating more space. The breath comes in and expands. And then you engage the belly muscles, squeezing the breath up and out. These really deliberate breaths now, full, deep belly breaths. Maintain that yogic breath, that belly breath, but see if you can soften through the throat. Allow the breath to become quieter. Maintain that depth of breath, but also that ease through the throat. And start to gently turn your head towards your right, just as far as is comfortable. Be aware of the shoulders. Keep the shoulders still. This is just a motion through the neck. As you bring your head back into center and turn it towards your left. Let's come back into center and go towards the right. And then back into center and towards the left. Well, now we're going nice and slow this morning. So notice if you feel the urge to speed up at all. See if you can stay in this nice slow rhythm of turning the head from side to side. Very good. Okay, the next time the head comes back into center, pause it there. Now, depending on what's going on in your neck, you might stay with that side to side motion, especially if there's any injuries there you want to take a little extra care of. Otherwise, sitting up nice and tall, let's tilt the head towards the right. Letting the right ear come closer to the right shoulder. Again, be mindful of those shoulders. They often like to follow along with motion. So you might be dropping a shoulder, lifting one up. Keep your shoulders level. And bring the head back up into center. Let's tilt it over towards the left. Just notice where it goes, how it feels. Let's go back up into center, tilt it over towards the right. And then up into center and tilt towards the left. One more time, let's come up into center, go over towards the right. Pause the head there. You might stay like this. You might release your left arm down beside you. That's going to accentuate the stretch down the left side. And if it feels okay for your neck, you might take your right arm up and over, resting your right hand on the left side of your head. Now, when the right hand is resting there, you're not pulling on your head at all. You're just resting the hand there, letting the shoulders settle, letting gravity do the work here, supporting yourself through breathing, those deep belly breaths. Good. You can stay like this. You could stay turning the head side to side, or you could play around a little bit with some motion, keeping the head tilted to one side, but maybe tucking your chin in a little bit, rolling it down towards your right shoulder, or gently up a little bit towards the left. Just moving around and feeling out the neck and muscles of the neck and how it feels to stretch them out. There's probably places where it feels more intense than others, so you find a place that feels best for you to work in, and you stay there, you breathe there. So if you are feeling a little bit of tightness or tension in the neck, send your breath into that place that is extra tight. And then bringing your head back so the face is forward, gently release your right hand down and lift your head back up. Good. You might notice now how one side feels quite open compared to the other side. And then we'll change sides. We'll let the left ear come to the left shoulder. Okay, settle those shoulders. We'll pause here like this, maybe hands resting on the thighs, maybe that right arm dangling down beside you. Be aware here if you're clenching or holding through the jaw, that's going to create more tension down the throat. See, that's one really key place you can release tension from to help open up the motion of the neck and shoulders. Maybe now your left arm comes out and over and rests onto the right side. Again, that's just an option, choosing for your body. Not pulling on the head at all, just resting the arm there. And you might stay here like this, just feeling that nice stretch down the side of the neck, where you might start to explore some tiny motion. So this is not a lot of movement in the neck. We're just lifting and tucking the chin, maybe turning it in or lifting it up, maybe an inch or so in each direction. So it's not a very big motion, but you'll notice you can explore some very different sensations of stretch when you move the head around. So you just find a place that has enough sensation for you that you know you're having an effect, but not so much that maybe it's creating that gripping or tension feeling, that you're able to stay relaxed at ease and breathing. Now turn the head so it's facing forward. Gently release your left arm down and bring your head back up into center. So arms now can come to dangle down at your sides and give your fingers a little flicking out or shaking out. You might roll your wrist a few times, get some blood flow down into those hands. And then we're going to fan the elbows out, lift them up. Big breath in like wings. Roll those elbows back, open the palms, look up. As you exhale, sweep the arms forward, elbows forward, big sweeping motion. Inhale, up and back. Let them come down and sweep forward. So I like to think of my arms here like big wings flapping. So you want a nice slow motion, but really grand, really big. One more time like this. As the arms come forward, the elbows bend, expand out and back. Then we're going to switch it in the opposite direction. So leading with those elbows, take them back behind you. Scoop them up and forward. Good. Take those elbows back. Nice big motion with the arms. Bring them around and forward. Very nice. One more time. Let's take the elbows back and up and around and forward. And as the hands come forward, let them land on your kneecaps. So the arms will straighten out in front, and we'll warm up those kneecaps. So making some circles in the knees, over the knees. And then you can warm up maybe the front of your thighs and shins if that feels okay. Back of the calves, back of the knees, back of the thighs. sides of the legs and hips. Just using the hands to help warm up the lower half of the body. So sometimes we can wake up a little bit stiff. And so warming up with the hands is very helpful. Just coming to the parts of the body you can easily touch and generating a little friction there, warming them up. Good. Then we're going to come to hands on the sides of the hips and start to create circles there with the hands at the sides of the hips, warming up the sides of the hips. This is really helpful to get some fluid moving in the hips first thing in the morning. Then your hands can come around the back of the hips, if that feels okay, on your shoulders, and warm up there. Gliding the hands up a little bit more to the low back, if that's available, creating those same circle motions there at the low back, warming up around the kidneys, and it should actually feel a little soothing. You might feel calming sensation by doing that. And then we'll do a little warming over the belly. Get those digestive fires going. And then we'll bring the hands up to the center of the chest. And you can use your hands now to start to tap at the center of the chest. Important here to get a nice firm tap, not so aggressive that it feels tender or sore, but a good firm tap. I actually like to use my fingertips to tap there right at the center of the chest. And you should probably hear a little vibration in my voice as I'm tapping. So the same with you as you're breathing, you might feel a little vibration in your breath. We're going to open up here the tops of the lungs. Good, good firm tap there. Keep going as you're breathing. You might feel the urge to cough, that's okay. Let yourself cough. We're opening up the lungs here. So it's really helpful if you need to cough, that's a good sign. We're getting things moving in the lungs. Good, then take those hands, slide them up and around the back of the neck, and give the neck a little rub. It's a little like a first morning self-massage, right? We get the body going first by a gentle massage. So you can rub through the back of the neck, you can come into the hairline there if that's okay for you. You can run your fingers up the hairline and into the hair. Good. Stimulating the scalp helps to clear the mind. Good. And then you can bring your hands to your ears and give your ears a little massage. Even pulling a little bit on the earlobes gently, warming up the ears. Do a little bit for the face and then we'll get moving some more. You're going to take your hands, the first 2 fingers on each hand, place them along the bridge of the nose and drawing out from the bridge of the nose out and along to the temples. So you're going to take your fingers to the bridge of your nose, and draw out and along the temples. One more time like that, into the bridge of the nose and out and along the temples. As you come to the temples this time, you can pause there, do some circles at the temples. Good. Good. And then take those same 2 fingers now, bring them at the right in the center of the eyebrows. And just like you did from the bridge of the nose and out, you're going to go from the center of the eyebrows and over the bridge there of the forehead to the temples. So center of the eyebrows, across the top of the eyebrows there, and back to the temples. One more time. Into the center, pulling along and down to the temples, letting your fingers slide down to your jaw joint. Do a little bit of massage there at the jaw joint. And then freeing up the hands, bring the palms together and interlace your fingers here. Now be gentle with the hands. If there's any pain or arthritis in the hands, maybe for you interlacing isn't okay. So you might hold one wrist with the other hand. Otherwise, interlacing your fingers, you'll press your palms forward. It's good, we got things loosened up in the lungs. One more, good. Pressing the palms forward, straightening the arms the best you can. Be mindful of your shoulders here. If it feels okay for the shoulders, you can start to take the arms up overhead. If that's not okay for your shoulders, let your arms stay forward, that's okay. Then from here, we're going to curve the upper body over to the left. Inhale with your breath, come back up into center and curve over towards your right. Keep your seat heavy on the chair. Inhale up to center, curving with the spine over to the left. Inhale up into center and over towards the right. And again, back up into center and over towards the left. One more time, let's come back up into center and over towards the right. Good. Now as you come into center, release your hands. Bring the left hand down across to the right thigh, the right hand now around behind you. Again, being aware of your spine, you'll just gently twist to where it feels appropriate for you. So if you're being mindful of twists today for whatever reason, you can have your hands resting, one on the thigh, one on the back of the chair, and stay facing forward. Otherwise, you're starting to rotate your rib cage around to look towards your right. Now the challenge here is to have the body in a twisted position while seated and still feel your feet on the floor. So of course they're probably still on the floor, but now you want to really feel them there. So press a little bit into both feet. Feel those feet firmly planted. As you take your next inhale breath, you're going to free up both hands, sweep them up overhead, and exhale them down and over to the other side. Right hand, left leg, left hand behind you, gazing off towards your left. Firm planting of the feet on the floor. Good. Inhale again, both arms up. Sweep them up and over towards your right. Coming down, looking off towards the right. Inhale up and over towards the left. Good. One more time. Let's inhale up and over towards the right. And again, big breath in to sweep those arms up and over and towards the left. Good. Sweeping the arms up now. Inhale them overhead. And as you exhale, fold forward. Your elbows might come to rest on your thighs, keeping your head above your heart if you have any concern for blood pressure. Otherwise, let your elbows slide off the legs, hands come down the legs towards the feet. Wherever your hands easily touch along the legs, perfect. Let your hands start there, and as you inhale, glide your hands up the legs. Big breath in, take the hands past the belly, the chest towards the sky, and then exhale, fold down. Inhaling through the nose. Breathing in, sweeping up, looking up, exhale, folding forward. Good. One more breath like this. Inhaling, rolling up, reaching up, exhaling, folding forward. Very nice. Your hands now can come up onto your knees, lifting about halfway, pressing into the feet. Chest forward, gaze forward. Good. You're welcome to keep your hands on your knees, so especially if there's any concern for the low back, this can give a little extra support. If the low back's feeling okay today, you can contain a little bit through the belly, but still have your breath move. Then you'll release your arms out to the sides like wings. Good. Press into both feet, open the chest up. Good. You can stay here, especially if there's concern for the knees. Keep your hips on the chair, arms out to your sides. If the knees are feeling okay today, take your arms up by your ears, reach them forward, and then shift the weight off of the chair into your feet, coming into a low pose here, what we call chair pose. You're just hovering a little from the chair. Good. Release the arms to your sides. Inhale, let's all take the arms back up. Exhale, take the arms down. Stay wherever you are in your hips. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, big breath in through the nose, and then exhale out the mouth. Inhale through the nose, exhale out the mouth. One more time, inhale, exhale. Very good. Now inhale, rise up, start to straighten those legs up, reach up, look up. Exhale, let the arms go. Good. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, let them go. One more. Big breath in. And exhale. Good. Coming to Tadasana. I can see now you can't really see my head. So I'm just going to adjust this here so we have a bit more view as we're standing. Good. So we're in our Tadasana here, feet planted on the floor. You're welcome to stay seated if that feels better for you. If you're standing, you have aligned your shoulders over your hips, hips over your heels. Good. Arms open, chest open. Take a moment now, feel the breath moving, feel the energy moving. If you feel steady here, you might close your eyes. And just like you did at the beginning of practice, take a moment and let your breath help identify areas in your body that might still feel a little tense, maybe a little gripping. And we don't judge these areas, right? They're working in the way they're working for a reason. But we do want to be aware of them. You want to notice them. Good. So we're going to come into a standing back bend here. I'm going to give you a couple options though, a few options, just depending on shoulders and neck. So from here, you have one option is to place your hands on your hips. That's the most gentle for the shoulders. So be aware if your shoulders have any injuries, place your hands on your hips. If that feels okay for your shoulders, your hands might come around to the back of the hips. This is a great option, especially if you have any low back concerns. This is very helpful to guide and protect that low back. If your low back feels okay, the shoulders are going to allow the arms to move up. You can bring your arms up and hands around now to the back of the head. So you interlace your hands, excuse me, You'd interlace your hands at the base of your skull and you're supporting your head there. So one of three options, hands on the hips or at the back of the hips or interlaced at the back of the head. So picking the option that's right for you. From here, everything else is pretty much the same. Feet are firmly planted on the floor. Soften your knees a little bit. And now take the back of your hips and drop them down towards the floor. Good. Lift the chest up. Hug the hug the shoulder blades back. And you might stay here. So especially if you have any concerns for your spine, any injuries or osteoporosis, stay like that. Get as tall as you can. If the spine's feeling okay today and you have your head held in your hands, start to draw your head back, supporting it with your hands. So there's a bit of pressure here between the arms and the back of the neck, lifting the chest up, turning the gaze up, maybe coming into a little bit of a back bend here. Be mindful of your spine wherever you are, you're breathing deeply. Good, then inhale, rise back up and gently release the arms down. Now, if there's any dizziness at all, have a seat in your chair. Good. Make sure now you've got lots of space around you. So if you need to adjust your stance in your room, you can do that or move the chair out of the way. Then I'll actually turn it so it's set up. But then make sure you've got lots of space around you. We'll take the feet a little bit wider apart so we feel really stable on the feet. And hands now can come onto the hips. Good. You're going to lift your left heel off the floor and pivot on the left toes so your body turns to your right. Then place that left heel back down as the hips come forward. Lift your right heel off the floor, pivot on the right toes, and turn to your left. Coming back into center, release the right heel down. We're going to go like that from side to side. Then pivoting on the toes from one foot to the other. This is to take care of those knees. So we don't want to take too much twisting in the knees this morning. We're going to take that twisting a little bit higher up in the body. Good. So you might stay here with your hands on your hips, especially if balance is feeling a little precarious today. The hands on the hips can help with that. If balance is feeling pretty okay, you can let your arms come to your sides, and then the arms will start to flop around from side to side as you twist. Really start to let those arms swing. Good. Nice. Taking the arms a little bit higher. If they're free flowing at the sides, bring them up eventually so they're about level with your shoulders and they're still wrapping around the body. Good. Ensure here you're still breathing nice and deep. And then we'll add in a little bit of tapping here, just like we did at the beginning of class. As you twist to your right, you're going to tap the center of your chest with your left hand. And as you twist to your left, you're going to tap the center of your chest with your right hand. Good. The other arm then can extend out behind you. At any point, if you feel dizzy or lightheaded at all, please reduce the twisting, maybe even come to a seat in your chair for a moment. Good. You can do this twist as well from the chair. Be mindful though of the back of the chair. Make sure to add in that tapping if you're seated. Good. We're going to now add in some strong breath work here. So as you twist, exhaling out the mouth, nice and strong. We're really getting that blood flowing through the body today, that oxygen moving. Good. 3, 2, last one of the breath. Let your natural breath come back in. Let the arms release more to wrapping around the body again, coming to dangle at the sides. And reducing your twisting action down a little bit at a time, so no sudden stopping. Just slow reduction of the movement down. Planting the feet on the ground. Maybe letting yourself sway a little bit from side to side. Again, if you're feeling any lightheadedness or shortness of breath, please have a seat in your chair. Let that pass. Reducing the swaying action down until you feel yourself settle into a Tadasana. Maybe the eyes close here. Maybe they stay open to help with balance. Just notice what you notice. Might feel a little bit of prickliness, a little bit of bubbliness. We got a lot of energy moving there. That's great. Clears the mind, readies the body for the day. And now turning towards your chair. If you haven't had it set up yet, you're going to bring your chair around so it's facing you. Excuse me. So the seat of the chair is facing you. And then you'll come back to stand in your Tadasana, feet, hips distance apart, palms open at the sides. Gaze forward over the back of the chair. Good. We'll do one sun salutation today, one full sun salutation today before we make our way onto the floor. So let's inhale the arms forward and up. As you exhale, keep your spine nice and straight, fold from the hips. Keep those arms lifted. You might bend your knees if you're standing here, folding forward, hands will release to the seat of the chair. If you're seated, your hands can come onto your thighs. As you inhale, lift your chest up, look out over the back of the chair. Then gently exhale, bending the elbows, folding down, being mindful to keep the head above the heart if there's any concern for blood pressure. On your next inhale, straighten both arms, look forward, and step your right foot back as far as you can comfortably bring it. So if you're in the chair, you're going to stay seated and lift your left knee up. Hold behind your left thigh. Give the leg a squeeze in. If you're standing, your right foot is back. Your right heel might be on the floor, or if your toes allow, you can lift your right heel up over top of the toes, coming into a lunge here. Gaze is over the back of the chair. You might hold here, keeping the hands on the chair. You might bring one hand at a time up onto your front thigh. If that feels steady for you, maybe bringing the arms up overhead. If that doesn't feel steady, you don't have to lift the arms up. Keep the hands on the chair. Feel the work in the legs and breathe. That's the key. If your arms are lifted, lower them down onto the seat of the chair. Take your left foot back and meet it with your right foot, sinking your heels down, coming into your downward facing dog. If you're sitting in your chair, your downward dog will bring your hands together, interlace them, press them up and out, looking forward. Those who are standing may take the opportunity here to lift both heels, bring the shoulders forward, and come into a plank pose, gazing over the back of the chair. If you're able to maintain a little support of that low back by engaging the belly, you might bend your elbows, bring your chest forward and up, and look up into upward facing dog. Big breath in here. Then as you exhale, slide your hips back, heels down, downward facing dog. Gaze towards the chair. Step your right foot up towards the chair. So if you're sitting in the chair, you bring your right knee now into your belly. Hold behind your right thigh, give it a squeeze. If you're standing, your left heel might be on the ground behind you, or you might lift your left heel up. Gazing out over the back of the chair, holding onto the seat of the chair. Or you might bring your hands up onto your right thigh if you feel steady here. Maybe taking the arms up overhead. These are options, choosing the option that's appropriate for you. Good. If your arms are lifted, slowly lower the hands back down onto the seat of the chair. Then take your back foot, step it up towards the chair. Both feet now flat on the floor. Inhale, lift your gaze up, look forward. Exhale, gently fold. Hands onto the back of the chair. Inhale, lift up partway, look forward. Pause here, let that breath balance out, the blood pressure settle. And then make your way up to stand, returning to your Tadasana. If you feel steady here, you might close your eyes. Let the breath settle. Notice the body sensations. So we're halfway through. Let's do the other half now. Inhale, both arms forward and up. Reach up, look up. Exhale, if you're standing, bend your knees a little bit, folding out over the chair. Nice long spine. Hands come down to the seat of the chair. Straighten the arms now as you inhale. Look forward. Exhale, bend those elbows, gently fold down. Inhale, straighten both arms, look forward. Let's take the left foot now. Step the left foot as far back as you can. So those sitting in the chair, I'm going to encourage you to grab a hold of the right thigh with both hands and extend the right leg out, straight out in front of you, holding the back of the right thigh. Good. If you're standing, you have your feet on the floor with a little bit of space still between the feet. Gaze is forward. Again, the hands might work their way up onto that front thigh, maybe lifting up overhead. These are options, coming into the lunge that feels appropriate for you. Good. Wherever you are, though, you're able to take really deep, full breaths. On your exhale, release your hands to the chair if they're lifted. Take the front foot, that right foot, step it back to meet the left foot. Come into your downward facing dog. Heels on the floor, hips out over the heels. Big full body breaths. Good. Gaze towards the chair now. Take that left foot up. Step the left foot towards the chair. Maybe your right heel lifts. Maybe you keep your right heel on the ground. If you're sitting in the chair, you're holding behind your left thigh now, extending the left leg forward. Gaze is forward. If you're standing, your left knee is bent. For support of that knee, we're going to align the joints, right? Make sure that the knee and the ankle are aligned. Then you might bring one hand at a time up onto that front thigh. You might bring your arms up overhead. Gaze is steady, breath is moving. You've got this, very good. Then gently release the hands onto the seat of the chair. Take that back foot, step it up towards the chair into your forward fold. Big breath in, straighten the arms, look forward. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, straighten those arms, bring them onto the back of the chair. Pause here. Then take your time to make your way up to your Tadasana. So no rushing coming up, let blood pressure balance out. Standing tall or in your seat, sitting tall, lift the heart, open the chest. Good work. Let's take 5 full body breaths here in your Tadasana. Two more breaths like this. Okay, open your eyes. Now, if it's okay for you, for your body today, to come to the floor, you can use your chair to bring yourself down onto the ground. Use the support you need to bring yourself down and then lay down on the ground so that your legs can rest onto the chair. Now, if coming to the floor is not an option for you, that's okay. Simply come to sit in your chair, ensuring that you're sitting here all the way to the back of the chair. And like me, it might be helpful to place the support underneath your feet if you're sitting in the chair. Make sure the feet have firm support underneath them. Make sure they're not just dangling. Good. Take your time to get to where you're going today. There's no rush. Either lying on the ground, feet on the legs on the chair, or sitting in your chair, back against the back of the chair. Once you're in your position, bring your hands onto your belly. Settle the shoulders, close the eyes, and deeply hook, connect in. Tether your awareness to the breath. Just like you did at the very beginning of your practice. Observe your breathing here in such a way that you are not altering or changing your breath at all, but simply watching the natural breath. And it might feel a little labored here. We've done a fair bit of work, a bit of strength and motion, and that's okay. There's no right or wrong breathing at this moment. We're simply observing the breath as it is. If you're lying on the ground, bring both your knees now into your belly. Wrap your arms around your legs. Give them a squeeze in. If you're sitting in the chair, allow yourself to fold forward over the legs. Maybe wrap your arms behind the legs to squeeze, or simply rest your elbows on your thighs. For those on the floor, you can rock yourself a little bit from side to side here. That can feel nice on the back, but it might not be appropriate for some people. So make the choice for yourself. If rocking is not okay for you, you don't have to rock, just give a little squeeze. And then those on the floor can go ahead and roll over onto one side, whichever side feels most available to you. Turn your body as you need so you've got space to extend your legs out on the ground. So make sure you've got space around you. And those in the chair can slowly start to bring themselves back up to seated. And scoot forward a little bit on the chair so you've got some space behind you. So those on the floor, I'll get you to bend your knees, place your feet on the ground, and shift your hips over to the right side a little bit. So you're gonna have your spine more diagonally pointing off to the right. Good. If you're sitting in the chair, you're gonna turn yourself towards your right. So it's gonna place a little bit of the left hip off the chair usually, depending on your chair. And your hands, if you're sitting in the chair, are gonna come around to the back of the chair for your twist. If you're lying on the floor, now with your hips skewed to the right, you can bring your knees back into your belly and take your legs over to your left. So this is a pretty deep twist for the spine, so let the legs adjust as they need if there's pressure concerns along the spine. But your legs will now come on over to the left-hand side. Let your legs rest all the way on the floor on the left-hand side. If you're in the chair, you're sitting with feet flat, pointing to the right-hand side, hands onto the back of the chair, gazing over the back of the chair. On your inhale breath, gently unwind. Wherever you are, slowly unwind. If you're on the floor, plant your feet back onto the ground. Shift your hips over to the left-hand side, bringing your knees back into your belly and twisting the legs to the right. If you're in the chair, you're turning your body towards your left, taking the hands around to the back of the chair, gazing over the back of the chair. If you're on the floor, ensure you've allowed your legs now to twist all the way over to the right. So they're resting on the ground on the right-hand side, or maybe there's a pillow there to support your legs. Use your inhale breath now for support as you slowly unwind yourself. If you're in the chair, you can come back to sit all the way towards the back of the chair. Feet again on the floor or on some support. If you're on the floor, make sure your hips now are settled into the center so your shoulders and hips are in one line. Then go ahead and slide your legs straight out from there onto the ground. If having your legs straight on the ground aggravates your low back at all, bend your knees again, let your feet rest onto the floor and your knees can rest together. Just take a little bit of that pressure off the low back. And your arms, if you're on the floor, typically are best rested at your sides, palms up, if that feels okay for your shoulders. If you're sitting in the chair, let your hands rest into your lap, shoulders settle down the back. From here, let's all close our eyes now. Draping the eyelids heavy over the eyes. Just like you did at the very beginning of practice, take note of any tension in the face and invite the tension to soften just a little bit. It may feel as though the features of your face are melting or blurring. With the softening of the face, feel a softening of the breath. Let that softening sensation cascade through the body. Settling now into a very quiet and still space, our Savasana. We'll bring you back in a few moments when it's time to close practice. I invite you today to stay in Savasana for a little bit longer if you'd like. If you're finding it restful, give yourself a few more minutes here. You're in your home, I'm in mine, so if you have the time, just stay as you are. If you're feeling it's time for you to close your practice, you're welcome to slowly and gently make your way to a seat. Join me in closing practice, but that's again just an option. If for you, staying in Savasana a little longer is of most service, then stay where you are. If you're joining me in closing practice, take your time to come to sit, lifted and tall through the spine. Hands in Anjali Mudra, palms touching in front of the heart. Eyes still closed, breath still at ease. Allow a little smile to grow over the face. Feel the brightness of the smile spread throughout your whole body. Know that this time you've dedicated to your practice is time of deep self-care and nourishment. Realizing that the only way we can truly care for others is when we learn how to best care for ourselves. So thank you for taking this time today and taking care of yourself. Namaste.